Back in July, I did something that I haven't done since I was a kid. I watched a Pewdiepie video. Specifically, I watched the video where he drew for 100 days, and I felt inspired to do the same. In this video, I'll show you the sum total of 30 days of drawing, including what I drew, what I learned, and my advice to you if you want to try it for yourself. I started off with my old mechanical pencil and sketchbook, and by the end, I got a new sketchbook, a better mechanical pencil, a pack of number 2s, a pencil sharpener, and a bunch of erasers. Was it worth it? Did I improve? Am I as good as Pewdiepie? Probably not. Before I begin, I wanted to plug the Chomong Art YouTube channel, an invaluable resource for learning the ropes. Without him, this video probably wouldn't be a thing, and the link for his channel will be in the description and the title card at the top right of the screen. Seriously, this guy is actually the GOAT. Check out his stuff, it's way better than mine. On day 1, I started with following along to a video of drawing a face, since I had drawn a bit before and thought, yeah, I kinda know what to do, so this should be pretty easy. Turns out it was not easy. Drawing a simple face, even from reference, was a more complex and time-consuming task than I realized, and I kept making a bunch of mistakes with it that haunt me to this day. Jumping into drawing blindly, I was met with a reckoning of my own making. So, on day 2, I decided to take a step back and start studying the basics. From the front angle to a high angle, I learned how the eyes, nose, and ears should look from multiple perspectives, and by day 5, I actually felt like I was beginning to improve, with plenty of room to go, of course. Still couldn't figure out how to make the hair look good though. From the 1st to the 10th day, I learned these 3 tips. Using Pinterest to look up pictures of people to draw helped a lot with understanding the proportions and how to recreate them on paper from a still image. So I guess lesson 1 would be to start drawing from reference. Being consistent isn't a hugely important lesson, especially if you're just trying it out. But after only missing 1 day, I would already feel rusty and had to work a bit harder to regain that momentum I had from earlier. If nothing else, drawing every day prevents you from losing any muscle memory you develop over time, so consistency is key. 3rd, don't be afraid to be bad. Look, you're going to suck at first, that's just a fact. But that's okay. In fact, that's basically the first step. For this stretch, I wanted to branch out from drawing profile faces, so I started on more complex topics like emotions, upper bodies, and different hairstyles. I like to think that last part helped me with drawing the ends of hairs, because that part really bugged me before. Like, I got how they started from the top of the head, but I couldn't get how to make the ends of them look natural and not have them abruptly stop going down. Also, drawing light hair was significantly easier than darker hair. Rubbing the shading with my finger was annoying. On day 14, I decided to get into gesture drawing. At least, I think it was gesture drawing. Basically, I just drew full-body poses. It was a huge jump from just drawing the top of someone, and while I don't think I did a bad job at it, I thought at the time that it'd be easier to work my way up to that part later. I did like the way this one turned out though. Throughout this section, I picked up on these tips. Learning anatomy is extremely helpful. Yeah, turns out biology lessons do kind of pay off. Knowing how the body is structured actually helped me out with upper body drawings, as I could tell how the clothes would look on a person after drawing their normal arms. Another extremely helpful tip is to know the purpose of each line drawn. Basically, at almost every step and every stroke with a pencil, you should know why it's there. If you're just drawing blindly, the overall art suffers, so at least know what you're doing before doing it. Finally, if you can't figure something out, there's nothing wrong with saving it for later. Once you've accumulated enough experience, you can take a shot at the next level, and maybe you would improve. Who knows? Day 20 was the last page of my old sketchbook, and for the last sketch, I tried drawing myself. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I even abandoned it midway through. At the start of the final 10 days of sketching, I got a new sketchbook, a new kit, and a new energy? It's hard to explain. I think I went back to face drawings to break into the new sketchbook, but because of that, I learned new methods and techniques for it. It might not make a lot of sense, but I had finally found the rhythm for sketching, and with that, I reached a weird zen place in my mind that I hadn't felt before. Also, I sometimes luck the heck out on drawing goat pieces like on day 22. Seriously, I don't think I'm making better sketches than these two, even though the hand on one of them is kind of messed up. Day 24, I returned to trying upper body drawings, but with trying to get more detailed with them, starting with the clothes. Studying clothing and how it folds was really interesting, but also really difficult, because I kept focusing on the amount of folds and not on how they all flow, so to speak. No matter how good you are at something, however, your biggest enemy is yourself. My pollen allergies were killing me one week, and that completely drained me to where I couldn't draw for a whole day. I literally couldn't muster the energy to draw anything, and it genuinely sucked. Amazingly, like Pewdiepie, I ended up drawing an anime style for a bit. I was reading Jujutsu Kaisen at the time, so here's a little Yuji, Megumi, and Toge. I think his name was Toge, at least. I'm not good with Japanese names, I'm sorry. I also drew Free Ren from well, free rent. Is that even how you pronounce it? I haven't seen it yet, but I heard good things. Something that surprised me about drawing like anime is that I had to draw the chin a little closer to the face than before, and I had to keep in mind how the hair flowed as well. But I ended up having a lot of fun with it, and if I had to choose between an almost realistic drawing style and anime, I think I'd choose anime. Day 30, I attempted a triumphant return to one of the first Chomong art videos that I drew along with. This is where I feel I can see the most amount of improvement, even with the imperfections. The part I was most proud of, however, was that I finally figured out how hair is supposed to work. I think. I hope so. I really hope so. These were probably the most important things I learned in this last stretch. When I was redrawing faces from the beginning of the sketchbook, I found myself approaching the process from different angles, and it was a totally different vibe from when I first started. So sometimes after learning a lot of new things, try going back and redrawing old images, and maybe you'll learn something new from that. Another lesson that was extremely useful was how to break big things into smaller parts. This helped a lot with drawing the folds on clothes, but also just upper body drawings in general. Lastly, after 30 days of drawing, I learned this. I had fun with it. I will continue to have fun with it, and I hope you also learn to have fun with it. Somewhere in the middle of this journey, a lot of misconceptions I had about the right way to sketch were thrown out the window. For instance, I thought I had to use a pen to make the lines look sharper and cooler, but it turns out the pencil is mightier and totally substitutes it. After realizing that, something else came to me. The most incredible thing about art is that there aren't really any set rules or guidelines to stick to. Except don't use AI. Don't get that fucking, stop it. Get that out of here. Get that piece of shit out of here. Nobody wants it. Nobody likes it. Fuck you. Fuck off. The low barrier of entry helps people with almost no experience not feel intimidated by the output and workflow of other more established professionals, and provides a great space to share, appreciate, and connect to many different backgrounds through art. It's also just a really good feeling to see something you create come to life. Even someone like me, who's never really drawn anything larger than a stick figure before, was able to draw something that I could take a step back and say, yeah, that looks pretty good. In short, art is an incredibly cool thing we've created, and I'm so glad that I was able to try it out. After watching this video, if you felt inspired to pick up a pencil and draw, or do anything else that you've never done before, then I support you. Thank you for watching, and good luck.
Found it.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?